Hi everyone, I'm Olivia and this is my brother Nick.
What up?
This week in church we're talking about patience and commitment. It's been a very unusual year for our community because we haven't been able to be together in person. But even when we can't be together, when times are hard, if we can be patient and stay committed to each other and to living our values in the world, we can still feel love and make the world a better place. Our story this morning, adapted from a Cantonese tale, is called We Are One.
Once there was a young woman who lived simply but happily with her wife and their 3 children. Until one day a strange illness of the eyes came into their home. First her wife and then their eldest son started having trouble with their eyesight. Everything looked blurry and gray to them. They went to the local doctor and they tried medicine after medicine, but nothing worked, and soon they found that they could not see at all.
Within a week, the illness had spread, and now their middle son also couldn't see. And their youngest, a daughter, was showing the beginning symptoms of the illness, rubbing her eyes and complaining that everything looked blurry. Some of their neighbors, as well, were afflicted with this strange illness. The people in the village began to wonder if they would all soon lose their eyesight.
The woman was beside herself with worry. She visited doctor after doctor until finally one doctor told her of a miracle herb that might cure this illness. This healing herb was a plant that grew only in the deepest part of the forest. The woman decided that she must leave her family to seek the herb.
Early the next morning, she headed into the forest. She looked under bushes. She looked behind trees. She looked everywhere, but the herb was nowhere to be seen. Many hours later, exhausted but still determined, the woman came upon a small stream. She sat down to rest, still looking around her for the herb.
Then she noticed a big rock had fallen into the stream, making the water run out of the stream to form a little pool. That little pool of water was flooding an anthill. Although she was in a hurry to find the herb, her heart went out to the ants. The woman stopped looking for the herb long enough to remove the big rock and dig a new channel for the water. With satisfaction, she watched as the water flowed away from the anthill. "We are all one," she stated simply, and she continued on her way.
The woman slept soundly that night, curled up under a large tree with a blanket to keep her warm. As she slept, a strange dream came to her. In it, she was inside the anthill, surrounded by cheering ants.
The queen ant stepped forward majestically. "Do not be afraid," she reassured the woman. "We have brought you here to thank you for saving our home and our lives. In return, if you ever need our help, all you have to do is call for us, and we will hear you and come to your aid."
As the dream faded and the woman began to wake, she heard the queen ant's voice calling after her, distinctly saying, "We are all one."
All through that day, the woman searched for the herb. She wondered if she was already too late, and if everyone in her village was already blind. She was startled from her thoughts by the sound of a bird, intent upon catching a small centipede. The centipede was scurrying across the ground as quickly as his many legs would carry him. Taking pity upon the defenseless centipede, she quickly scooped him up and frightened the bird from her prey. Saying, "We are all one. We are all one," she carried the centipede to some leaves and placed him gently in their cover.
That night again she had strange dreams. This time she was visited by the centipede.
"Thank you for saving my life," the tiny voice proclaimed, "and now I will help you as you helped me. The herb you seek can be found by an ancient oak tree in the very center of the forest." An image of a gnarled and twisting trunk came to her mind as she heard the centipede state, "We are all one." Then she awoke.
The woman spent the next morning making her way into the heart of the woods, searching for the oak tree. As the day progressed, she noticed that the trees around her were getting blurry. Gazing towards the sky, she saw that the sun was still high in the sky. With a dawning horror, she realized that she, too, must have contracted the strange illness. Quickening her pace, she continued towards the center of the forest, but with every step her eyesight worsened.
Just as she was giving way to despair, she found the ancient oak tree. Even though she could barely see, she could tell it looked just like the one she had seen in her dream. Stumbling and out of breath, she began to search for the herb frantically. It was no use. Her eyes could no longer tell one plant from another. Crying with frustration, she wept for her wife, her children, herself, and the people of her village.
She turned to try and retrace her steps to her home, and then she remembered. The ants! Perhaps they could help her now. She called to them, and soon enough, small voices responded.
"Bend down," the Queen Ant's voice said. "The herb you seek is right here. I am standing on it."
Gently, the woman knelt and reached towards the sound. With cautious movements so as not to harm the Queen Ant, she found the herb and picked it up. Slowly and carefully, she tore the small piece of the leaf and chewed it. Almost instantaneously, her sight was restored. Joyfully, she harvested the herbs and prepared to return to her village.
Before she left, however, she thanked the ants and proclaimed one last time, "We are all one."
The woman walked as swiftly as she could, all day and then all night, by the light of the moon. She hoped, oh how she hoped, that she would return in time to save her village from blindness.
Finally, she reached her home. As she called to her children, they followed her voice, for by now they were all completely blind. Anxiously, she gave them bits of the herb. And then she waited to see what would happen. 1 minute passed, and then another, and their eldest son laughed with joy. "I see you," he shouted. "I truly see you."
Soon, everyone in the village had been cured of the strange illness, and the woman who had saved them all returned to her simple but happy lifestyle, with her wife and their 3 children. And she never forgot that we are all one. The end.
Even when we are apart, or some people in our community and in our world are struggling, we are all one. This can help us remember why we keep working to build a better world.
All of us at the Elliott Church are thinking of you and sending our love to you. We can't wait until we can be together again in person. I hope you have a wonderful week. Bye!